પ્રવાસી ગુજરાતી પર્વ 2022માં આજે મારી સાથે એક એવા ગેસ્ટ છે કે જેનાથી દરેક ગુજરાતીને પ્રાઉડ ફીલ થાય, કારણ કે ગુજરાતની બહાર જ્યારે કોઈ ગુજરાતી સિદ્ધિ હાસિલ કરે તો તે ગૌરવની વાત દરેક ગુજરાતી માટે હોય છે. આજે મારી સાથે છે મિસ્ટર આશિષ ઠક્કર કે જેઓ એન્ટરપ્રેન્યોર છે, ફિલેન્થ્રોપિસ્ટ છે, એસ્ટ્રોનોટ છે અને બીજું ઘણું બધું છે. એમની પાસેથી આપણે જાણીશું. મિસ્ટર આશિષ ઠક્કર, વેલકમ ટુ ધ પ્રોગ્રામ.
Thank you, Akshay.
First of all, if I can ask you about your past and your upbringing from Africa to Dubai, because there's an interesting story. I saw your video a couple of days back, and where you mentioned how your life transformed. So if you can, talk about it.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. So just a quick background, in 1890, my family left Gujarat and moved to East Africa. My father's family and mother's family. And in 1972, the Idi Amin saga happened in Uganda, so we got kicked out, moved to England, started from scratch. But in 93, and we moved to Rwanda, which is another East African country. Unfortunately, 9 months later, the genocide broke out. So we were refugees for 35 of the 100 days. We lost everything again. So I wanted to support the family and I wanted to do something. So when I was 15 years old, I quit school. And I took a $5,000 loan and set up a business. And it started in Uganda, and then we spread it to Dubai and the rest of Africa. So.
You often say that when you talk about unemployment and empowering youth, you often say that FDI is not the solution of employment, rather empowering youth would be the right option for any government. Can you please elaborate on it?
Yeah, absolutely. So through my 2 roles of chairmanship of the United Nations Global Entrepreneurship Council and also chairmanship of the Africa Development Bank's Presidential Youth Advisory Group, what we've realized is a continent like Africa and a country like India has similar statistics where we have a very young population. So આપણે જો youthને જો fully tools આપીએ to truly empower them, from enabling them, empowering them and inspiring them, they will be the real job creators of tomorrow. If we focus on large foreign direct investments or even national investments, the problem is with the level of automation in today's world, there's very limited, job creation is absolutely going to be there, and the knock-on effect in terms of, reverse industries and the forward industries that come along with it will obviously be beneficial. But truly enabling, empowering and inspiring young entrepreneurs, but also women entrepreneurs, becomes extremely important. And it's in line with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which, all the countries in the world, including India, signed. And by 2030, we want to leave no one behind. And this means no hunger, no poverty. This means gender equality. This means reducing inequalities, creating quality jobs. All of this is only going to be possible if we create the tools. There's that saying, giving a man a fish or teaching him how to fish.
True.
This, if you give the tools to people, they become self-sustainable, which enables them to become scalable. And that's the real solution, especially for populous areas like ours, like India, like Africa.
When you say that it's time to give back, right? Because whatever we have earned or learned, after some years of our life, everyone should emphasize on it. How do you elaborate it? Giving back in terms of what or which perspectives?
So I'm very, very lucky, Akshay, where I found Morari Bapu, my spiritual leader. And I'm a flower of Morari Bapu's, and his teaching of truth, love and compassion, Satya, Prem and Karuna, has really inspired my family to kind of live up to that. And giving back, and he says this, which is, giving back at least a minimum of 10% of your income is the bare minimum we should all do. But giving it back in a way where we're able to give it ourselves, we're able to create that level of impact. And not doing it for fame or not doing it for PR, but actually meaning it. And I think, it's a big responsibility that we all have, right? No matter how small or big. But giving back and meaning it is very important. Meaning, if we do it with the right intent, spirituality and positivity attracts positivity. આપણે જેટલું આપશું એનાથી ક્યાંય વધારે આપણને મળશે, right? It's one of those things. It just attracts that energy. So I think doing it with the right intent is very key, and that's what we've been lucky with.
Do you think it is difficult to convince youth in such spirituality? Because in 2022, especially youth, they want reward. They want, instant validation. So if you don't have instant validation, if you don't have result, or if you don't have perk, they're not easy to convince.
So, I slightly have a different opinion that in today's youth as well, with this whole social media generation,
Absolutely.
the reality is that if you see there's the new generation is a lot more conscious of so many different factors.
True.
From environment
Yes.
to, be it the LGBT globally, be it so many different factors. And therefore, the compassion side, the Karuna side is so key in this, that actually I see that coming out. And this is why even Morai Bapu's Ram Kathas are focused on the youth. I mean, I met Bapu when I was 7 years old. I did not understand the message of truth, love, and compassion when I was 7. But I fell in love with his energy and aura. And his focus around youth, I mean, he wants nothing. He takes nothing from me. I've never given him anything. He's never asked for anything. Why am I coming to Gujarat every 2 months to see him? Why do I need that dose? People need vaccine doses, I need his dose. But why? Why is that? Because you see that new generation has that different kind of feel, and hopefully my 2-year-old son Yagna will follow that as well, and will have it even more so, right? So I think in today's world, and also let's be honest, Akshay, when people see others giving, if you're in the traffic lights and there's lots of cars in traffic, and somebody opens their window and gives something to somebody who's asking, the cars behind also not feel embarrassed, but also get inspired by a little gesture of that nature.
True.
And I think that's what will happen, and I think the youth take that more seriously than the previous generations.
See, I want to ask you about Mara Group, your organization. In terms of giving back to the society, what exactly do you do? Like empowering women, like you're saying, or empowering youth, or contributing towards society. If you can,
Sure.
give us more details.
So a few things. I mean, apart from my personal roles in the United Nations and the Africa Development Bank, we have something called the Mara Foundation, which is exactly focused on enabling, empowering, and inspiring. So we created a mentorship program which enables us to impact at a high touch level. So we don't go so deep. There's quite a few organizations that do that on a country by country, city by city basis. We do it on a high touch basis, and so far we've impacted almost 900,000 entrepreneurs across the Middle East and Africa. And again, leveraging of technology, right? Mobile phones is everywhere. I mean, Africa has over 1 billion lines. India has over 1 billion lines. If we leverage off this, and to your point about perks, to your point about that, if there's a way we can gamify this, if there's a way we can create some angle where it becomes interesting, but also a learning experience, but sometimes also, Akshay, which is interesting, and it's a big theme, especially with artificial intelligence and big data and machine learning, etc., is not only learning, but it's also the unlearning, which becomes even more difficult. Because sometimes we've been inherently come into a system where we've just captured what's going on around us, whereas tomorrow doesn't look like yesterday. So how do we truly plug into that? And sometimes the unlearning becomes even more important than the learning.
Now the last question is about Gujarat, because when you talk about business opportunities or maybe young entrepreneurs, how do you see Gujarat as? Because Gujarat has always been a pioneer.
Yes.
We have big names in business. How do you see present of Gujarat, young entrepreneurs, and even future?
I mean, I think, again, it's thanks to Bapu, but I honestly, I'm a 4th generation African. I'm a British citizen. I'm a UAE resident, but I'm inside and out a proper Gujarati and a very proud Gujarati, thanks to Morai Bapu. But also, I think thanks to Modi ji and Amit ji, who's really made a huge difference. I mean, today, I'm on the global stage quite a bit in different areas, in different fields, and different networks through the Young Global Leaders of the World Economic Forum and other platforms. One thing for sure is that India's brand, respect, and trust has hugely escalated since this leadership, and that's great to see. That's great to see and very proud to see. My wife, Krishna, who's here, she's a Gujarati and she's a hardcore entrepreneur as well and one of my biggest supports now. So in terms of Gujarat, I mean, the 65 million people plus, the entrepreneurial spirit and drive is just phenomenal, phenomenal. And I think it's not only now is it in Gujarat, like you said, India has some big names which are,
Absolutely.
the top two are Gujarati, which
Absolutely.
is phenomenal to see. But globally, we're seeing that even more so. So I think it's a brilliant time to be a Gujarati, and
Yes.
that too, a passionate entrepreneur.
With this, thank you so much, Ashish bhai,
Thank you so
for
much.
giving your precious time.
Thank you so much.
તો જે રીતે આશીષભાઈ જણાવી રહ્યા છે કે ગુજરાતમાં હંમેશાથી પોટેન્શિયલ હતું અને આવનારા સમયમાં પણ ગુજરાત અને ગુજરાતના બિઝનેસમેન જે ખાસ કરીને યંગ છે તે ઘણું મોટું કરી શકે તેવી પૂરેપૂરી શક્યતાઓ છે ને એ જ પ્રકારે સરકારી યોજનાઓ, સરકારી પોલિસીસ અને સરકારનું નેતૃત્વ પણ છે. તમારી વિશેષ રજૂઆતમાં હાલ બસ આટલું જ. નમસ્કાર.